She's like, you're getting crumbs everywhere. Don't worry about it.
A modern podcast where Chris and Mike talk about TV, movies, superheroes, and everything in between. It's time for Superhero Slate.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Superhero Slate, the show where we run down the latest superhero entertainment news.
We love TV, movies, and superheroes, so let's talk it all out.
My name is Chris Dillard.
And my name's Mike Royer.
And this week, Fox announced several TV shows.
Jeez, okay.
Star Wars
Ooh.
sets to make a splash this week.
Mm-hmm.
Marvel gets some rumors and more.
Man, so at this point, this podcast has become a necessity because I am like surprised every single week that we have enough to talk about just to vape about for an hour when it comes to Marvel news or just DC news or wherever there's news. And it's just like, it always pops out of nowhere. I'm just like, oh, there's no way we're going to get a whole bunch of stuff this week. And then it all just crashed on us this week. We have so much crazy stuff.
There is a lot going on, and there's a lot of speculation and a lot of fact. So we're just gonna, I think we can talk about what we know and what we don't know, and what we want to know.
Yeah, because I think the problem is a lot of the stuff that cropped up this week kind of started as rumors, and then some of them panned out to be true, and some of them are false. But since everything kind of came out around the same time, I think people just assume it's either all false or all true. So I think we're here to clear that up.
Yeah, definitely. And before we begin, I'd like to plug Not Your Father's Root Beer. I have a can right here. I'm cracking open to enjoy on this sultry podcast.
Yeah, it's like the newness in, like, I guess, alcoholic drinks. Like, I've seen it at the liquor store out here, and there's several different types of alcoholic root beer now, which is kind of funny because it's full circle. Because I believe when root beer was like first created, I think it was inherently alcoholic because it was brewed.
Yeah, so I mean, everyone's like, "Oh, I'm drinking a root beer because I'm underage or like I don't want to drink liquor," but now your root beer's liquored up again. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I do know root beer is made from the sassafras tree. Mm-hmm. And, sarsaparilla is also made from that, so there could be some relation between that.
Yeah. One thing that I learned is root beer is a very, very bizarre drink around the world. Like, we're like one of the only countries that are just like, oh, root beer, that's just like a normal soda. But like over in Japan, they're like, what is this bizarre drink you're having?
Well, have you been in Japan and had root beer in Japan?
No, I haven't. But I've seen some things online where Japanese people think root beer tastes like medicine.
Yeah. So just pulling up a Wikipedia page here, it is probably the most controversial drink because it says root beer may or may not be alcoholic. It may or may not be carbonated.
So it could be whatever it wants.
It may or may not be sweet, foamy, or flavored with artificial sassafras. And it may or may not contain caffeine. So what the hell is it? Like, it's just like any drink that's not, Coke or Pepsi is root beer.
It can be whatever it wants.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess that's like a plug for a grocery podcast. I've had good feedback from that. People want to hear about that eventually.
Yeah, I think we're making plans.
Yeah.
Domain names have been purchased.
Yes. So did you do anything this week before we kick off the news?
Oh man, what did I do this week? I've been sick all week. I'm just kind of clearing up now, so that's good. The main symptom was a sore throat, so hopefully this podcast doesn't aggravate anything inside my body. But it's been a pretty easy week for me so far. I've been trying to keep up with all this news.
Yeah.
What have you been up to?
I finished, I think, 15 episodes of Arrow in 2 days.
Oh man, you were like plugging along.
Yeah, no one was home, so I just put on Arrow and I did not leave the couch.
Oh yeah, you had a bachelor lifestyle for a couple of days there.
Yeah, I did. I never want to go back to that, honestly, after I discovered that. So I finished season 2 of Arrow. I did not start 3, but 2, I don't know. I don't know if it's as hype-filled as everyone made it out to be. Mm-hmm. I think at the time it was only Arrow and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
So comparing season 1 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. to season 2 of Arrow, yes, it is the better show by a long shot.
Yeah, I was telling you earlier, it's kind of weird going back and watching Arrow for somebody that's probably seen the first season of The Flash, because The Flash is a superior show, and it has a lot of the same makeup and formula, shares the same universe, and I believe it shares maybe the same showrunner at some point in time.
I think Guggenheim.
Or at least writers, for sure. I'm sure they've gone back and forth. So it's like, well, I've already seen the superior version of Arrow. It's called The Flash. So when you go back and forth, you kind of got to give it a little leeway. But you also give it a little respect since it kind of started it.
Yeah, totally. I definitely think at the time it was awesome and amazing and better. But you're right, seeing The Flash and later seasons of S.H.I.E.L.D. make me see Arrow Season 2 as just kind of So hopefully when/if I start Season 3, I will, I don't know, maybe get into it a little more.
Yeah, I think one of the things that kind of helps out the Flash and hurts Arrow is the CW shows always have like a little bit of cheese in them, just because like they kind of have to stretch a budget, and make scenes try to look serious, even though the budget may not make them look very serious. So I feel like that just goes over well with the Flash because there's just more humor. I feel in that side of the CW universe, where with Arrow they're trying to be very dark and brooding, but like sometimes if you just don't pull a special effect off well, it just kind of makes you laugh. So, but either way, you're plugging along. You'll be caught up here soon.
I really, really, really hope so.
Yeah, and I believe our plan is to talk in depth about the new season of Arrow, probably whenever you catch up, or probably mid-season finale. I think you're really trying to catch up there.
Yeah, I'd like to be on board at least with that by then. I will not be watching Gotham, just to let everyone know now. That's not a show that's on my list to ever touch.
Yeah, I mean, it's not on my list either. When people talk about the show, they always kind of leave it as like lower ranking. I know there's people out there that like it, and it's totally fine to like the show, but right. It's probably not something that's going to crop up much on Superhero Slate.
Yeah.
Unless there's like some big news or something like that.
Yeah, well, speaking of TV shows and big news, we got some new ones coming up.
Oh, let's launch into this.
Let's launch in. So, Fox has announced not one, but two X-Men shows are in development.
Mm-hmm. And I believe this is over at FX, right?
Fox. It's through Fox. They didn't say a channel, I'm pretty sure. So, we've got two shows coming up. The first one is one based on the mutant Legion.
Mm-hmm.
Legion in the comics is Professor Xavier's son, who he showed up, I think, in X Factor. So remember we talked about X Factor being a TV show like several months ago?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think this is where that rumor came from.
Yeah, I have a feeling both of these TV shows that we're about to talk about got a lot of hits on their Wikipedia pages this week, because they're not like main run series. They're kind of older characters, I feel like they could be shaped pretty much to whatever the showrunners want.
And so here's the synopsis. This comes from the showrunner.
Mm-hmm.
That Legion introduces the story of David Haller. Since he was a teenager, David has struggled with mental illness. Diagnosed as schizophrenic, David has been in and out of psychiatric hospitals for years. But after a strange encounter with a fellow patient, he's confronted with the possibility that the voices he hears and the visions he sees might be real. So I don't know if this doesn't sound like a mainstream kind of TV show, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I can't see it fitting in with the current slate of TV shows. Do you think it'll be, an FX exclusive, like a kind of a little harder rated?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm honestly, the bigger questions I have is Fox trying to make a TV universe now? Is this going to be tied in with the current run of films, or
it is not?
Oh,
the showrunner says it will not touch the show. It could exist, but it will not touch on events in the movies.
Yeah, see, that kind of surprises me. So I'm not saying that is a necessity when you make a show, but I like the idea of the possibilities. I think a show should stand on its own, but I like the idea that when I'm watching it, I never know when something might crop up, like when they might drop a reference to like maybe Magneto throwing a stadium at people or something like that. Every once in a while that stuff's kind of cool, so I'll be interested to see how that pops up. But I believe when I was doing some research on Legion, or when I saw some people posting tweets about him, now he's related to Xavier in some way, right?
In the comics, he's his son.
Yeah.
Also, Legion is an Omega level mutant, which is like one of the highest level mutants.
Mm-hmm.
And he has the ability to create spontaneous mutations with various attributes inside of himself.
Mm-hmm.
So, but he creates a new persona or sub-personality to govern each one of these new mutations.
Mm-hmm.
So, example, like if he, using current X-Men, if he decided that he needed to shoot ice powers, right?
Mm-hmm.
It would become Legion and Iceman inside his head.
Gotcha.
And if he needed to do, fire, he would be the Human Torch, and so on and so forth.
Okay.
So they would all exist within his head.
Yeah, well, I guess I could speak to the fact of this mental illness point of view. See, I was always kind of turned off by the idea of a main character having mental illness, just because, like, I was just like, how do you make a character with a serious mental problem? Like, how do you make him likable? How do you make us root for him? Because, you never really know what you're seeing is real. And, it was a weird opinion to have about it, but I'm totally over that now because when my wife and I totally binged watched Mr. Robot in like a matter of days, the main character there does have a mental disorder and is not all there, but you can make those characters relatable, and you can make the audience care for them. So yeah, I think that would be cool. I mean, basically it would be like someone like Mr. Robot but with superpowers. I think that's a neat idea. I think a mutant TV show is really lucky to the point where it's easy to make new mutants. They could get some of these B, C, D-list mutants in comics that you never really see that often, and you can turn them into characters pretty easily. No one's going to care if you kind of shape them to what you want. So I think it would be easy to bring superpowers into the show.
Yeah, I definitely agree, especially one person having all the powers that he needs and creating like a different one as he goes. Mm-hmm. This will tie into another rumor from Marvel later about this, but I mean, I think Legion is a very, very bold step for Fox to take and step forward on that. The next one is something we've kind of had a little experience with. It's called Hellfire.
Okay.
And it's based... Hellfire will be set in the late 60s. The series, which will be produced by 20th Century Fox and Marvel, we'll talk about this later, follows a young special agent who learns that a power-hungry woman with extraordinary abilities is working with a clandestine society of millionaires known as the Hellfire Club to take over the world. So, little fun fact, First Class deals with this almost directly.
Yeah, I was looking through images to put some of our graphics together for the show, and I kept seeing screenshots from First Class of these people put together. It's like that back room in that strip club or something?
Yeah, so the Hellfire Club is run by Sebastian Shaw, who's played by Kevin Bacon in that movie, and his second command was Emma Frost, who we met in that movie as well. Now, will this power-hungry woman with special abilities, will that be Emma Frost appearing again? Mm-hmm. Or because we know she did not make it into Days of Future Past.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we could have somebody else. This one's a little more vague on the details. I've not heard as much of this, but we have dealt with things in the 1960s in First Class that was the Hellfire Club.
Yeah, I really like the idea of a superhero show in the 1960s. I've brought this up before with the first Captain America film. I like these superhero period films. So, and I think I'm going to like the show. We like Agent Carter. I just kind of like seeing superheroes in a different time period. I don't have to worry about cell phones cropping up or somehow someone cramming like a fake a cell phone screen. Oh, I'm going to put this superhero that's on the street on Vine or whatever. I don't have to deal with all that crap in the 60s. I can see like this kind of like retro technology mesh with like superpowers. I just think that's a cool mix.
Yeah, so this is kind of reminiscent of maybe a 1960s S.H.I.E.L.D., dealing with a superpower background kind of thing. This feels like an Agent Carter for mutants, honestly, because it's talking, stuff like that. So I mean, I don't know. Hellfire a little vague, more vague. Legion a little more straightforward. Mm-hmm. Both are coming to Fox, 20th Century Fox Television. So it may be FX where they air it. I don't know. Mm-hmm. But they're executive produced by Bryan Singer and Lauren Schuler Donner and Simon Kinberg, who pretty much run the X-Men movies, as well as Marvel TV's Jeff Loeb and Jim Chory.
Wow.
So we have a crazy group of people executive producing the show. Now, what does that mean? Anything right now? No. But they're attached to it, and they probably don't want their reputation to go down the drain. Mm-hmm. So what do you think of these shows? Do you think the Fox needs to branch out into the television space with their mutants?
I mean, I don't see why not. I mean, the TV space is such a big deal right now. If you have these properties, you can only do so much with them in film. I mean, film takes a long time to put together. You can't be as agile on a film set. You have to plan this stuff out way in advance. I mean, they're only going to be able to get an X-Men movie out maybe every other year. So if they expand the TV,
three next year.
Yeah, exactly. So if they expand, they can they can get just a lot more out there. They can get a lot more superhero proliferation out there on the screens. So I have no problem with this. Nothing bothers me. It's not like they're trying to make like a Wolverine TV show or something. I like the idea that they're kind of taking these lesser known crews and characters and bringing them to like a smaller screen. So we don't have to worry about them too much.
So my take on it is, I think they should have started with 1 rather than 2.
Yeah.
Now, will they come out at the same time? Who knows? They may put out 1 first and then the second one come out later.
Yeah.
But putting out 2 is pretty bold. That's like if they put Arrow and The Flash out at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
But again, these movies, they're more standalone. They can be connected, but they're not constructed to be connected.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. We'll have to see how that works out. I'm excited. Fox doesn't have a strong X-Men TV show run. I think they did a Power Pack, and I think it was like something like not X-Force, but something else back in the 90s.
Yeah, whatever they were, they did not go well. The only thing they've been able to do right on TV is animated.
Yeah. Oh, Mutant X is what it was.
Yeah.
Mutant X. So we'll see. We'll give them some hope. And maybe that could lead to some bigger news. So which we're going to jump into Fantastic Four.
What do we got here with Fantastic Four?
So there's 2 things going on. My assumption is, and we talked about this, and someone pointed out 10 episodes ago, on episode 30, I talked about Fox can make a TV show. They don't have the rights to it, so they need to get with Marvel. Hence why Marvel TV is attached to the production.
Yeah.
But they would have to probably give Marvel Fantastic Four rights. Something in return.
Yeah, because Fox only has the film rights for the mutants. So so they can't make a TV show without getting some
without
permission.
Marvel's blessings. Yeah.
Yeah.
So and I presume that Fantastic Four would be in this deal. Now, we heard a rumor this week that Fox made a deal with Marvel to get the TV shows in exchange for Fantastic Four.
Yeah, that was a big rumor. That took off, and everyone just assumed it was truth. I feel like before anyone did any sort of checking. So I don't know what's going on with that right now.
This was checking. Like, the person who said this has gotten stuff right before.
Mm-hmm.
And they said that this includes the rights to villains, Galactus, and Doctor Doom, as well as the Silver Surfer. And I assume that would be a 2020 film. However, Fox has come out and denied this.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to point out, the same thing happened in January with Sony.
Yeah, that's true.
And Spider-Man. They flat out said, no, this is not true. 2 months later, Spider-Man was with Marvel.
Yeah, I feel like this could happen for one of 2 reasons. They could first just be getting the feel of the water. I feel like tons of media does this now. They leak, quote-unquote, leak things to see what the reaction is going to be from the internet. And then they go from there to adjust their strategy. So this could just be like a fake leak. They just want to see how the crowd's going to react. Are people excited to see Fantastic Four over at Marvel, or do they just think it's so bad there's no way to save it? So I think they got their answer, that they want to see the Fantastic Four in a good film. So people are ready for a new Fantastic Four film. And maybe they just have to deny it also for legal reasons. Maybe this did leak, but maybe all the contracts aren't signed yet. Maybe there's still a couple initials that need to be signed, so they just legally can't say anything. So, I mean, it makes sense. Fox, you can't save the Fantastic Four. You cannot. There's nothing you can do unless you just bury this and you remake a film. And you can't. They couldn't, because they have to do it in a certain time frame. And the next time they have to make a Fantastic Four film, it's just going to seem too soon.
Yeah, so I agree with you. Fantastic Four is currently sitting at a 9% on Rotten Tomatoes, by the way. And again, the movie isn't out on DVD. They're not going to cut into their DVD sales by saying, "Yes, we gave up on it. Marvel has it," right? Because then no one's going to buy the DVD, right? They can't even recoup those. So my guess is they're going to do the Spider-Man. There's going to be a time period, like 6 months after Spider-Man / Fantastic Four is on DVD, and then we will get the announcement.
Yeah, you think so?
I do.
So
it's the same. It's the same. It feels the exact same as Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Like, there were talks. Everyone was like, "Yes, this is going to happen," and Sony's like, "No. Then JK, we got you. We are doing this.
Yeah, and it also makes me wonder what type of deal was struck. Is it going to be a similar Spider-Man deal where Fox still has the distribution rights and they still have some of the rights, but Marvel is kind of stepping in and making sure things go well? Or is Marvel fully getting all of Fantastic Four back and they're just giving the middle finger to Fox?
See, I don't think so. I think it's going to have TV rights are they're not very I don't know. They just don't seem like that expensive, so it'll probably be a share deal, like Spider-Man. Because
but also with Spider-Man, they didn't have really anything to trade. Marvel didn't necessarily give anything to Sony. They just decided to work together.
Yeah,
so
they just gave them the confidence that they won't make a bad movie.
Yeah, so I don't know. So maybe these TV rights is a big deal for them, just because Fox is I don't really know necessarily how strong they're doing in the TV space right now, so maybe they really need these killer superhero shows to compete. But yeah, I definitely don't think that this is a closed case. They're not getting it back. I agree with you that we will see something more in the future.
Yeah, so domestically, Fantastic Four only made $56 million.
That's so bad, because that budget was probably, with marketing, it was definitely over 200.
Without marketing, it's 120. With marketing, I double that.
Yeah.
And then Rise of the Silver Surfer, which I think was a weaker film, or not a weaker film, but the weakest, made 131.
They should have just re-released that.
There was more on the opening weekend money on Fantastic Four for the Fantastic Four's lifetime.
Oh god, it's so bad.
So I think even then, they're not making money on Fantastic Four.
Yeah,
they're hemorrhaging it. So I think there's going to be a share deal going on.
Yeah, either way, I think my assumption is that Fantastic Four and Spider-Man are going to be the saving graces of Phase 4 and Phase 5 for Marvel, because they can't keep rehashing Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans. They've closed their trilogies off. They need fresh meat for these new phases.
Yeah. Speaking of fresh meat, I'm going to jump into the TV shows. How about that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's do it.
Luke Cage, who is coming out, they're filming Luke Cage now. They're a couple months in. He makes his first appearance in Jessica Jones, coming out in 1 month.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, 1 month and 2 days. Imagine that. They got him to say "Sweet Christmas," his signature line at an interview a couple weeks ago. Yeah. So we got that. However, I just want to do a plug here. Mike Coulter, who plays Luke Cage, is actually Spartan Locke, one of the main characters in Halo 5 coming out next week.
Oh, yeah, you're getting excited for that game.
Halo 5. I think I hold Halo a little bit above Marvel, simply because there's only one Halo game every 3 years.
Oh, okay.
Where we get, we're going to be getting 3 Marvel movies and several TV shows a year from them going forward.
Well, I was talking to a friend of the show, Quentin Parker, just the other night, and he is planning on finally getting his Xbox One, and he's leaning towards possibly a Halo 5 bundle. So I told him, get that game, play it with Chris, and we'll bring you back on the show, and you guys can have a Halo 5 segment, because we know I'm not getting an Xbox One anytime soon. So I feel like we need to carve out some space in a future show so you guys can just nerd out about Halo 5.
I think a spoiler cast would be fun.
Yeah, that would be fine. I'm totally fine with you guys saying spoilers to me about Halo, because more than likely I'll probably just end up going to a Wikipedia page and reading what happens, so you guys can just tell me.
I tell you what, something I might consider, and fans, let us know, doing a Twitch session of playing Halo 5.
Oh, Twitch live stream. Yeah, that would be cool.
A live stream for Halo 5 with Quentin, and we'll do it for Superhero Slate.
We'll do crazy. We'll do a crazy multimedia, and we'll get a Periscope account up for the Twitter account, and I'll Periscope me and Quentin on his couch playing his Xbox One.
That'd be so much going on, and only one person would watch.
No, we'll get more.
2 people. There we go.
Double it.
Double it. So yeah, Luke Cage. I'm excited for it. Jessica Jones is in 1 month and 2 days. We've got a really good rest of the year lined up for us.
Yeah.
So we were talking about Legion earlier, right? The mutant with mental health issues.
Yeah.
Well, the next rumor is Marvel is developing a Netflix series based on Moon Knight, their own kind of psycho schizophrenic character.
Yeah, we talked about this a couple episodes back, I feel like, when we were talking about Netflix shows that could possibly be, and Moon Knight was definitely one of the characters that popped up in our head. We talked about Punisher, but obviously now Punisher is going to be on Daredevil, which is awesome. So Moon Knight cropped up. I think we might have talked about Blade at one point in time for Netflix, but I guess
Blade and Elektra, but they brought them both up in there. They brought Elektra up in Daredevil. Already.
Yeah, so
the thing about Moon Knight is a lot of people compare him to Marvel's Batman, but with schizophrenia.
Yeah. Does he have
multiple personality disorder?
Does he have the richness and the wealth?
Yes, he's a mercenary and he's very rich.
Okay.
and he fights like Batman, and he kind of looks a little bit like a white version of Batman.
Yeah, so he's basically he's Batman.
Yeah, but a crazy Batman.
A crazy Batman. Okay.
Right. So the most recent Moon Knight run that started, I think, in like 2012, had an issue. I think it was issue 5. This pretty much the Raid, if it was a comic book.
Okay.
So it was like one building, and it shows him going up to the top to save somebody and like kicking ass the whole way through. I would like to see that translate to one episode of a Moon Knight Netflix series.
That would be cool.
He's very, very brutal, and like one version of Moon Knight, in his head he thought he was Spider-Man, Captain America, and Wolverine.
Oh man,
alongside of himself. So I mean, like his personalities change; they come and go. But he's got the powers of Khonshu, the Egyptian god of the moon. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, so now where exactly do we know where this rumor came from? How strong is this rumor? Do we think it's true?
I mean, I don't know where this one came from. Again, this one kind of got lost in the other Fox shows, Fantastic Four kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. But I saw this on several outlets, and I feel it may not come true for several years. Mm-hmm. But another rumor is that this may take the place of Iron Fist instead. But I doubt that. I highly doubt that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We thought, we were so positive that these Marvel schedules were so set in stone until we got that total out of left field schedule change last week, and I could see it happening with Netflix. I mean, we didn't think that we were going to get Daredevil season 2, and then we got Daredevil season 2. So I would assume that if Moon Knight was going to be a show, it wouldn't happen until after the Defenders, and I think that's where I would put my money. But honestly, I could see it like cropping up. Like maybe we get Daredevil season 2 after Jessica Jones, and maybe we get Luke Cage, and then bam, maybe they announce a season of Moon Knight just out of nowhere. But yeah, I think it would be after Defenders logically.
Yeah, I think. Well, I mean, the thing is that they've put so much in Defenders, saying it's those 4 characters, and adding a 5th one before that would probably be weird. I mean, despite Marvel changing their movie schedules, they've always said it's Avengers Infinity War, and these are the dates they're getting. But with the Netflix shows, they never really gave us a date or a time frame for anything.
Yeah, that's true.
So that one's still nebulous. But I don't know. I'd like to see it eventually, sooner than later, probably. Moon Knight has his own comic again relaunching this fall, so his popularity isn't going away anytime soon.
Yeah, I would like to see it. I have not had a chance to read any Moon Knight yet, but I believe I've had a Moon Knight trade on one of my Amazon wish lists for a long time now. I think it's time I pull the trigger and I read it.
Yeah, and if not, if I would recommend to anybody, I'd recommend the Warren Ellis run from 2012. At least he did the first 6 issues.
Okay, it's good to know. Good to know.
Yes. So let's jump into Black Panther, one of the casualties of the news reschedule, and by casual I mean better for Black Panther. A new director rumor has stepped up, saying Ryan Coogler might be one of their top people to direct.
Okay.
Mostly because the first choice Ava DuVernay has passed on the project to go take on something else, and F. Gary Gray has signed on for Fast and Furious 8.
Okay, so I guess he sees a mega car franchise a little bit more attractive than a Black Panther movie.
Right, or maybe they got to him before Marvel. I mean, Marvel says they don't want to hire a director until they get a script done, so maybe it just was waiting too long.
Yeah.
But Coogler has worked on the Creed, the Rocky spinoff coming out with Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah.
Focusing on Creed's son, and he also worked on the Fruitvale Station.
Yeah, I believe that was Academy nominated. I don't know if it won anything, but I know it was nominated at some point in time.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it has Michael B. Jordan in it as well.
Lots of Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah, he's worked with him. So do you think it will get Michael B. Jordan in Black Panther anywhere?
Well, hey, look at this. I mean, if Coogler and Jordan are really tight, if Fantastic Four ends up coming back to Marvel, maybe they'll have a possible director ready to go for a new Fantastic Four movie. But it doesn't make any sense now that I think about it, because Michael B. Jordan probably wouldn't reprise his role. Never mind, just kidding. Just kidding.
They're probably not going to continue. It's all right. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. But so yeah, so he's got some stuff under his belt that is critically acclaimed. So I'd be okay with this. I could go either way.
Yeah,
really.
I think the Black Panther film, I'm looking forward to hearing more about it. I'm curious if it's all going to take place in Wakanda, if it's going to be doing any globe-trotting. I'm looking forward to this film.
Yeah, me too. We'll know more with him by the time Civil War comes out next year.
Mm-hmm.
Thor Ragnarok is still coming, still working its way through, right?
Yeah.
Pretty big film. I'm excited. So pretty much this rumor, which is almost confirmed, I'm still gonna mark it up as a rumor because scripts can change, right?
Yeah.
The Hulk will be appearing in the film with Thor.
Yeah, this was by far the biggest news of the week for me personally, just because it came out of nowhere. We didn't really know much about Thor Ragnarok. All we knew is the title of the film and that little bit of weirdness we got in Age of Ultron. So I didn't really know what Thor Ragnarok was going to hold. I wouldn't say I wasn't looking forward to it, but I mean, I think when Thor movies come along, you know, I'm pleasantly surprised. I'm pleasantly pleased to go see them, but I'm not like getting like the midnight showing tickets usually. So when I heard Hulk was going to be in this, and I was just like, yes, this is awesome. I think Hulk and Thor is going to make a great film. The way that I hear this kind of being talked about, it sounds like it's going to be more than just like a cameo or just like a pop-up. It sounds like he is going to be integral to the plot of the film, and I think that's great. I would love to see like these two basically one of the two strongest people on the Avengers just smashing stuff up. And you know, when they're on these like other planes of existence, you know, when they're in these other realms, you know, I'm not too worried about them smashing stuff because they're not going to knock down a skyscraper. They're just going to knock down some sort of magical building that maybe doesn't have thousands of civilians in it. So I just love the idea of them just like smashing stuff like crazy. That's what I picture in my head, is just lots of smashing.
Yeah, so Ragnarok is, you know, the end of times, and if you're going to go out with the end of times, you're going to have a big battle, right? Mm-hmm. And, you know, who would you want by your side? Thor and Hulk, of course.
Yeah.
The only thing I'm skeptical to say that the Hulk will appear, we might get more Bruce Banner, is you got to CGI the Hulk a lot. Mm-hmm. I don't want to, like, Bruce Banner is, you know, the one of the better parts of seeing the Hulk on screen. You got to have them both. Mm-hmm. And I think having maybe his science intelligence, maybe find out why, like, work with this mysticism of that are, you know, as Guardians of the Realms might, you know, ground it a little bit more and definitely work with what we have.
Yeah, but, you know, at this point, I'm really not too worried about the CGI of the Hulk necessarily anymore, because I'm sure they have a dedicated people that know every square inch of the Hulk's body by now. Well, so I'm sure
it's not that, it's the cost. I would say it's the cost of doing that. Like, to CGI a Hulk in a couple fight scenes, yeah, that's okay. But like, to do them for a lot of the movie, that's where I'm like, they can't do a whole bunch of Hulk.
Yeah, but I think
Thor's not the biggest moneymaker.
Yeah, but I think maybe this could make it a really, really big deal. I mean, Thor was kind of a harder sell. But, you know, when you get Hulk on that poster, I think that just totally changes the dynamic. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how Hulk shows up in Asgard. You know, we saw him fly away in that little jet, you know, trying to get away from it all at the end of Ultron. I'm kind of curious maybe how he makes it into this other realm. You know, and maybe is it Loki's doing? You know, but at the same time, the last time Loki had a run-in with Hulk, it did not go well, so maybe... You know, so maybe it's not his doing, but I'm kind of curious how he makes it over there, and I think that'll be really, really cool, because this will be like, it's not really the first time we've seen a human in Asgard. We got to see that with Jane Foster, but I don't really care for Jane Foster's character, as we all know. So I would love to see, like you said, Bruce Banner walking around Asgard, this very intelligent scientist just trying to reason with this mystical stuff going around him. I think that would play really well.
Right, and we don't need any more. If Jane Foster was in this movie, I could care less.
Yeah.
Like, she isn't the strongest point of the Thor films, and they say this is the darkest script yet.
I think that's great.
In the Thor movies, which is awesome, and this kind of goes along with that Taika Waititi director announcement, because he has to... I mean, you get someone who knows comedy well, into a dark script, you gotta have a couple light moments, right? You don't want to feel depressed the whole time.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you'll get the last Hunger Games movie, which was just depressing for me because it wasn't that good.
Yeah.
But another thing is that the Valkyries, everyone always says Valkyrie as a person. Well, yeah, there is a Valkyrie, but Valkyries are a group of people who are to take fallen warriors to Valhalla. Mm-hmm. They take the dead to Valhalla. So the Valkyries are set to appear as well, which are all women as well, which could alleviate that Jane Foster if we get Valkyries instead of her into the film.
Okay. Now I'm kind of curious. In this film, we see that we're going to be getting Hulk. What else would you want to see in it, maybe that we haven't quite seen from a Thor movie?
Oh,
yet?
Surtur. Surtur, hands down. We need Muspelheim, the Fire Realm. And speaking of Earth's Mightiest Heroes, the guy who wrote Earth's Mightiest Heroes, Chris Yost, wrote Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
And you've recently caught up on Earth's Mightiest Heroes, and that sub Thor plot of leading up to the Fire Realm and Surtur would have been awesome in season 3.
Do you think there's a chance at all that Beta Ray Bill might pop up?
I do not. No.
Yeah, I don't think he's ever going to pop up in the MCU.
If they're going to do Hulk, they can't do Beta Ray Bill.
Yeah, that's too much smashing. Too much.
Yeah, too much smashing. I mean, Odin has to be around to give him his hammer, and as far as we know, we don't know where Odin is. It'd just be too much. I think for the cinematic universe, that's just too far out there.
Yeah,
despite Beta Ray Bill being one of my top characters.
Yeah, what I'm dying to see is I want to see some mystical armor crafted for the Hulk. I want to see the Hulk armored out so bad. I think that would be so rad. And if we can get that to happen, I will be so pleased.
Do you think he needs armor? I mean, I think maybe they give him some sort of whatever they gave those dark elves that they turned them into big warriors. What if we buffed up the Hulk even more?
Oh yeah, do
magic.
Do whatever. I want to see magic and Hulk collide into some sort of crazy just outfit or something. I want to see just things go crazy. I want to see things smash. I mean, this is just going to be great. This is like you said, we're still kind of slating it as a rumor, but for the most part, I believe this is going to be confirmed.
It's enough to bring Thor level hype levels back up again after the mediocre film that was The Dark World.
Yeah.
So, but Ant-Man, the Ant-Man hype's still going.
Yeah.
All right.
We're getting that
sequel. It just opened in China.
That sequel.
Yeah, we're getting that sequel. It just opened in China at the same time. Mm-hmm. The Blu-ray and digital have been announced. The digital is in 1 month from yesterday.
Okay.
On November 17th, and the DVD is December 8th, which lines up with Guardians release. So if you want to bring home that Ant-Man on Blu-ray December 8th, that's going to make a great Christmas stocking stuffer.
Yeah, I'm curious if we're going to get any deleted scenes.
There are deleted scenes and gag reels, and the trailer is actually narrated by Louise in the style of he heard it from his friend kind of thing.
Oh, awesome.
They took it right from the film. So Ant-Man, the last Phase 2 movie, if you want to complete your Phase 2 collection, pick that up in December.
Yeah, finish that. So I mean, we all know you have a shelf that you need to complete.
I do, and that shelf I'm getting rid of old DVDs and just replacing with Blu-ray, so
yeah.
It needs to fill out a little more. Mm-hmm. So, Star Wars. Again, the hype is real.
Yeah.
The new trailer lands tomorrow during Monday Night Football.
Yeah, so
along with the ability to buy tickets early.
Ooh, that is it for me right there. I mean, I'm still on the fence whether I'm going to watch the trailer or not yet. I'm going to leave it up to you. You're going to be my filter, but I'm guaranteeing that I'm getting those tickets tomorrow. I got to pick what theater I want to do. I think I'm going to do that super cushy theater with the reclining seats. And,
nice.
Yeah, I'm getting those tickets. I'm sure they're going to sell out quickly, but I'm going to get them. I'm going to sit back.
Do you get assigned seats?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay. Well, see, here's the thing. I don't mind buying tickets 1 month in advance, but this is almost 2 months in advance.
Oh, I don't care. I gotta get them.
I mean, do you think people are going to sell out really quickly, or do you think it'll be more sold out in about a month?
No, I think it's honestly going to depend on region for sure. How many theaters you have to fit the demand, but I believe that it's going to be hard to get the tickets day of, for sure.
Yeah, oh yeah, I would not wait day of. Now, each theater chain has their own special like things for the movie. The closest one I have is a Regal Cinema, and at it I get if you each week you go, if you're the first 500 people that day, you get a special Star Wars ticket with art, and they change that art every week.
Oh, cool.
And I don't know what the others are, but I did see that one, so I'm gonna see what's up with that. I'm excited.
Yeah, well, but speaking to this trailer, we were talking earlier because I believe we're going to talk about a little teaser that may or may not have came out, but I am waiting to see what the contents of the trailer is going to be. So usually the very first trailer you get for a film typically is just like glamour shots, and that's what we've had so far. We haven't had much dialogue. We've had a little bit of Skywalker just kind of rambling a little bit. We've got some cool lightsabers, but we don't really have much plot going on, which is good. Usually when you get the last official trailer to come out, usually there's too many people talking. There's people specifically referencing things that are happening in the film. That's what I don't want to see. So it seems like you're going to watch this trailer no matter what. So I'm going to let you be the first line of defense for me.
So you'll see in our show notes, we have a teaser. There's been at least one teaser released. Since we've started this podcast, I checked 3 more teasers have been released.
Yeah.
0 dialogue in them. Just more, I wouldn't say glamour shots, but more intrigue in them than actual story. So I assume we're going to still go in with the mystery. First off, it's a J.J. Abrams film. He's not going to tell us shit. And it's Star Wars. They love to get their hype going. They don't want a repeat of Phantom Menace, but I don't think we're going to have that on our hands. Mm-hmm. So I think it's going to be pretty vague. What's not vague, though, is the new poster we got today.
Oh, yeah, this poster.
So I was out of the mall, and this popped up, and I sent to you right away. Mm-hmm. So it's The Force Awakens, the official poster for it. It's in the style of Drew Struzan. I don't think it is, though. I don't see his signature anywhere on it. Mm-hmm. I've kind of studied this and looked at forums online since it came out, and his signature is not anywhere. Most of these seem to be actual pictures rather than drawings. Mm-hmm. On the thing. So I'm on the fence of if this Struzan or not, but it's in the style of his.
Yeah, but I tell you what, this poster is going to look beautiful on my wall if I can find a place to put it.
That's right, and it's going to look good on your phone.
Oh, yeah.
Is what you said.
Yeah, the first thing I said.
Is your phone.
Yeah, first thing, new wallpaper, new phone wallpaper right there.
That's right, because right now my lock screen is an iPhone, it's not. It's an iPhone of the Kylo Ren with his lightsaber. But on top of that, there's two things I want to point out about this poster.
Okay.
First off, no Luke Skywalker.
Okay.
We get our first look at Leia, but no Luke Skywalker. Mm-hmm. Even though he is billed as like the second person on the bottom.
Yeah. Secondly,
in the back right above Finn is the Starkiller base.
Yeah.
The Starkiller base, according to StarWars.com, is a ice planet that has been reformed into not a star killer, but like it's a bigger Death Star. It can blow up a solar system.
Wow! So they're just
more so than just a star.
Yeah, so they're just the dark side just doubled down. They're just like, okay, we're not going to rebuild the Death Star again. They blew it up pretty sufficiently. Let's just go bigger or go home. Hey, there's a planet over there. Let's just go ahead and make that a Death Star. Let's just start with the skeleton.
It's no small moon.
Yes, exactly.
But that's crazy. Also, I want to point out here, and this is a fun fact, lightsabers. Kylo Ren's lightsaber is very rugged, very, very rough. Mm-hmm. Whereas Finn's Luke Skywalker lightsaber is still very sleek and sophisticated, like it was built by a Jedi.
Yeah.
This ties into the Star Wars comics that are going on right now that are canon. Uh-huh. And they said this week that over time, lightsabers break down without the care of a Jedi taking care of them.
Oh, that's cool. I like that idea.
So it's like any electronic. If you don't take care of it, guess what? It's not going to work.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what that is. So
yeah.
I just want to share this poster. Take a look at it. It's awesome. It's beautiful. I'm hyped.
Yeah. It's obvious that Kylo Ren did not get the warranty on that lightsaber. The one time at Best Buy when you should have bought that warranty, he didn't get it.
Well, this is one of those, I feel like people who craft will understand. Like, you can either buy it at the store for $20 or make it yourself for $70.
Yeah.
And it looks like he just made himself one, and it's not really working out very well.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm looking forward to these lightsaber battles, though. They're going to be sick.
Yeah, give us some more Star Wars for sure.
Yeah.
Are you excited for Lego Batman?
Oh yeah. What's going on with Lego Batman?
So Rosario Dawson, also known as Claire Temple and Daredevil, has been cast as Batgirl,
Oh, that's
the
cool.
voice of Batgirl. Also, just to keep up, Michael Cera is Robin, and Zach Galifianakis is the Joker.
Oh my god, that's awesome. I love that casting.
So, yeah, this is a spinoff from the Lego movie, and we'll see more as we go, but with Will Arnett returning as Batman, hopefully they keep the fun and humor that they were able to with the first one.
Yeah,
and keep going.
Yeah, I really like this idea of basically a humor Batman film, which is something we probably never would have got unless they happened to be Legos. So I like the idea of maybe them bringing in some villains that would never have translated well to the screen and bring them in Lego pieces. I think that's going to be great.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's going to want to see Solomon Grundy come in there.
Yeah.
As a Lego piece.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, well, that's Lego. How about Kingsman 2?
Ooh,
Kingsman, the King.
What about it? I'm excited.
It starts filming in April of next year.
So we're looking at, what, 2017?
Yeah, probably a 2017 release. Probably the same time frame. Probably, I'm guessing, February. They're going to shoot for that again.
Mm-hmm.
Go with another R-rated Kingsman film. There is not a Kingsman 2 book, so this will be an all-new story.
Yeah. Unless
the movie didn't even follow the book anyway.
Yeah, I'm curious maybe if we'll be seeing more Kingsman's issues with the success of the film though.
We definitely see. So Matthew Vaughn has exercised his right for Kingsman 2, bringing back Taron Egerton as Eggsy.
Mm-hmm.
This pushes back the Robin Hood prequel origin story that he's set to star in, but why the fuck do we need more Robin Hood movies?
I didn't even know there was going to be a Robin Hood prequel movie.
Yeah, it's like an origin. I'm like, isn't every Robin Hood movie an origin movie?
I mean, if I think honestly, if we're talking about prequels to those types of films, we all saw it happen with Pan, the prequel to Peter Pan. I mean, that bombed, made no money. I think they're taking a second look at that Robin Hood film now.
Yeah, so I mean, Robin Hood and Peter Pan are properties that they keep trying to give origin stories to, and they just need to leave those alone.
Yeah, we don't need
move on to something else.
Yeah.
Maybe you can move on to an Alien sequel.
Yeah, apparently, is it an Alien sequel? Is it a Prometheus sequel? I don't know.
This is Alien. This is way back when we talked about the director of District 9, Neil Blomkamp, like sharing like his concept art and like his ideas for an Alien sequel, starring Ripley and the cast from the first one or the first two. And they're now in production on it, apparently, because there is obviously a pulse rifle image that he's shared on Instagram. And it looks just like the pulse rifles from the original Alien movie, but it has like a rail system.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool.
So,
I mean, if we know anything about Blomkamp, you know, whether you like his writing and directing or not, his films always look really cool. He gives a lot of attention to sci-fi detail. I mean, I remember the scene in Elysium with the slow-mo destruction of the robot when they're still on Earth, when Matt Damon, he's shooting some sort of like giant gun or something, but that was amazing. So I know that this railgun pulse rifle thing is going to look cool in action no matter what.
Yeah, so I'm glad to see he's going with a practical effect, because he uses a lot of CGI in his movies. Mm-hmm. And I don't like his writing. I love District 9, but Elysium and Chappie, you know, aren't well. I hated Elysium, to be honest.
Yeah.
So I'm glad to see he's going to Alien, a sequel. This is not Prometheus 2, but we're getting Aliens and Prometheus at the same time, so that's awesome.
Yeah.
But something where he's not beating us over the head with like environmental issues or like governmental issues.
Yeah.
Like, give us a fun story and use your skills to make it look awesome, and I think he's gonna be able to pull that one right out of his ass.
Yeah, I think we can believe in Neil Blomkamp for this time around.
Yes. I'm crossing fingers and knocking on wood, baby.
Mm-hmm.
So, except for Godzilla versus King Kong, I don't care for this.
Yeah,
this is a horrible idea.
Are you a little worried about this?
Well, first off, we have King Kong Skull Island coming out in 2017. Okay. Followed by the Godzilla 2 in 2018.
Okay.
And officially Godzilla versus King Kong in 2020.
Oh, okay. I mean, I think we've talked about this at length, I feel like, in the last couple of weeks, where we rather there be Pacific Rim 2, but I guess if this is going to happen, I guess it can happen. I feel like this is going to be very similar to the Godzilla reboot. You know, the trailers look cool and all, but I didn't rush out to the theaters to see it. I still haven't seen the Godzilla reboot because I've heard just kind of so things about it. So, you know, I have a feeling it's going to be along the same lines of these films. Like, they'll do the Skull Island film. I probably won't see it right away. They're going to do the sequel to Godzilla. I probably won't go see it. But maybe when they actually team up, maybe I'll be interested enough to go see the film.
Well, see, my thing is, Godzilla in the new one, he's huge. Like, in the newest Godzilla, he's huge, right?
Yeah.
Skyscraper size. King Kong's not that big.
Yeah, I mean, that's the scale issue is the thing that keeps popping up. But I have a feeling they're going to tweak the size of King Kong more than they're going to tweak the size of Godzilla. I feel like King Kong might stay relatively small so he can still climb that skyscraper, but then I feel like he's going to be shot up with some sort of like gamma radiation style thing, and he's going to.
So they're going to make him bigger so they just can build the set smaller.
Yeah, I think King Kong is going to be the grower. I don't think it's not as fun if they shrink the characters. It's a big film; they're just going to take the small one and make them bigger.
What if it's a Honey, I Shrunk the Monsters kind of movie, and they have Godzilla and King Kong fighting in like micro size world.
But maybe micro size to them, so they just shrink down Godzilla and King Kong, and they're just maybe only 8 feet tall. So everything just seems a lot less intense. And then there's like literally just like people like just right next to them, and they're just like, oh shit, I'm just gonna go into this coffee shop and watch out the window as they fight. That would be kind of silly.
And then they get a CGI Steve Irwin in there to like capture Godzilla,
Oh,
like it's a crocodile.
Oh no, I don't know about that.
Oh damn! This movie was getting really good. All of a sudden, then it stopped.
I like the creativity. I like how you're just going there.
Yeah, well, if I didn't, who would? So I'm not big. Godzilla wasn't bad. The newest one.
Uh-huh.
You're not gonna hate it, much like I didn't hate TMNT 2 or TMNT. But it's, I don't know. The rest, Godzilla or King Kong isn't something that I'm clamoring to see.
Mm-hmm.
So, oh well. Neither's Resident Evil. God, Resident Evil.
Man, they're making.
I wish it would just go away.
They're making more of these, huh?
Well, the last live action movie is in production right now. They're filming it, and it ties up the whole live action movie that's been around since I think 2002 or something.
Yeah.
And it ends those. However, they are doing a reboot of their animated universe in 2017. Tied. They've had several animated movies. They're not tied to this.
I don't even think I've ever seen a single animated Resident Evil film.
Yeah, they had one where it's like at an airport, and it had characters. They can pull the characters from the video games in better. So just do some hyped up, like, you know, look like video game cutscene movies. Mm-hmm. I saw one in an airport. There's been several other ones. They're supposed to reboot it in 2017. Who knows how good it will look or won't look. I expect something anime style, honestly. But I don't know. I don't care either way.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I've only ever seen the first one. I've heard people kind of compare the film franchise to maybe a little Fast and Furious-y, where it's just kind of like dumb action. You know, you're not really expecting a whole lot. You're just going there to just kind of see some stuff blow up. You know, it's like the opposite of a chick flick. It's just like a dude film. I've only ever seen the first one. The first one was kind of cool because if I remember right, I think that final beast in the film was like somewhat practical or stop motion. It looked different than just CGI.
The very first movie is the one you're talking about?
Yeah, the very first one.
It is a horror film. It is not an action film. It's a horror film, and that's great. Like, we needed that. Mm-hmm. But then the rest were like, oh, let's make explosions and bigger and better and ridiculous wire work. And
they must be... Yeah, they're making money, I guess. They wouldn't make, like... What is this, like the fifth one or something?
No, this is like 7 or 8.
Oh, jeez, yeah, I'm so far behind. I don't think this is a franchise where you need to go back and rewatch all of them to kind of catch up. I think you just kind of jump in and just see if you like them or not.
You could, I would say 2 to 7 you could do that with, but 1 is very different.
Yeah.
If you like 1, you're not going to like the rest of them.
Yeah, but I would recommend watching 1. I remember some scenes in there that were pretty cool, but it was so far in front of this new zombie resurgence we had. So I'm kind of curious how it holds up in the zombie lexicon that's on right now.
I actually own it, so I could find out.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it also was a good video game movie because it didn't lean on the actual video game to tell the story.
Yeah, exactly. One of the few decent video game movies we have.
Yeah. So that's it for news this week. We've got a shorter show. I don't know if we should tell them that you're not on the internet right now.
Yeah, I like to doing this sometimes. I like seeing if the listeners can point out where maybe we've had to sew the show together. Yeah, my internet dropped out partway through the podcast, so we're talking through our cell phones right now and recording locally on our computer. So.
That's right. We live in the future.
Yeah, so we'll see how well this got bodged together, but I think it's going to go pretty well. But if they want to find out, if you ever get around to rewatching Resident Evil or finish catching up with Arrow, where can they follow you?
Oh, they can find me on Twitter at VALDAN, Valdan. Mm-hmm. I go on there. I'm probably going to be doing a lot of when Halo 5 comes out, I might be twitching, so, come watch me twitch.
So are you going to be physically twitching or video twitching?
I'm going to leave that up to a surprise.
A little bit of both?
So we'll see. Yeah. I'll alternate, so you never know which one it is.
Yeah, okay.
Or you can, go to comicui.com and find the news there. But what about you, Mike? You've got some comics coming out and some work you've been doing. Where can they find you at?
Yeah, well, they can find me at MikeRoyerDesign on Twitter or Instagram, and you can read my webcomics at pickledcomics.com. I actually put one up today when we're recording on Sunday, because no one ever puts any new stuff out there on Sunday. I don't know if you've ever noticed this, but my Facebook feed on Sunday is the worst day of the week to look at Facebook. People are just sharing the worst of the bottom barrel garbage on Sunday, and it's just all bad. So I thought I'd try to put something out there that was new and original.
Well, I appreciate it because it's a good joke and it's relevant.
Yeah, some good zingers.
Since I'm eating this bag of dry oatmeal.
Yeah, exactly. You're the only person on the planet. Please let us know if any of our listeners have ever just ate dry oatmeal. I'm curious how insane you are.
Yeah, I'm pretty crazy. Eating my dry oatmeal with my Not Your Father's root beer.
Yeah, but
if they want to hear all our other crazy shenanigans that we tell on this show, Mike, where can they find us?
Okay, the best place to go is superheroslate.com. That's where we have the links to every place that we put the show up. We're on iTunes, YouTube, great videos that you put together on YouTube. We're on SoundCloud, Tumblr. You can get direct email subscriptions from email. We're on Facebook and Twitter. That's a great place to follow us to make sure you never miss an episode. But if you're a fan of the show, consider going on iTunes and leaving us a review. It helps us pop up in searches on there so new people can find us. And like I always say, if you're a super fan, the super fans of Superhero Slate, share the show with a friend. So I think that's the call to arms this week. So just head on over to superheroslate.com. You can even check out our show notes. We talked about some cool stuff this week. We got some links up there for you.
That's right, and like I said, when something fails, like we had happen last week, YouTube is always a viable option, and SoundCloud if superheroslate.com isn't working, go check those out for us.
Yeah, we'll always have a place for you guys to listen, so you keep listening and we'll keep recording, whether the internet goes out or not.
That's right, we will find a way to make this show happen. Yeah. Don't care how.
Yeah.
So, all right, well, that's it for this week. We'll catch you next week.
All right, see you next week, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening, and don't forget to subscribe.